r/AskReddit. What sounds like fiction but is actually a real historical event. Return of Napoleon. An army was sent to intercept him, and they ended up fighting for him. If it was shown in a movie, most people would have considered it cheesy and unrealistic. The Great Stink of London in 1858. One summer the heat dried up the River Thames, where all the human waste went, and an unbearable smell pervaded throughout the entire city. All Parliament representatives were eventually coerced out of their homes outside of London to convene and solve the issue. Much to the citizens' glee, Parliament was held in their building on the bank of the River Thames, resulting in one of the fastest Parliament decisions ever made to reform the London sewer system. Edit. Grammar. Vesna Vulović fell from a height of 10,160 meters and lived. She holds the world record for surviving the highest fall without a parachute. Anything more than 450 m and you might as well go for the record. Google's terminal velocity. Yup, checks out.
A typical skydiver in a spread eagle position will reach terminal velocity after about 12 seconds, during which time he will have fallen around 450 m, 1,500 feet.
I'm still going to want to aim for the pillow factory. The London beer flood of 1814, when one vat of beer at Moe & Amp Company Brewery exploded. It proceeded to cause a domino effect of other vats to also burst, causing a tidal wave that flooded a neighborhood, leaving crumbled homes in its path as well as 8 people dead and dozens injured. Boston had the molasses flood. I've added drowning in food to my preferred list of ways to not die. Yes, even beer. The town of Rothenberg ob der Tauber in Germany, one of the country's oldest and most preserved cities. Essentially, during the 30 Years' War, the Catholic army wanted to destroy the town because they resisted the church. Count von Tilly, sounds like a Monty Python name, was going to destroy the town, but as a gesture of peace the town offered him a mass, 3.25 L, of local wine. He declared that if anyone in the town could drink the mass of wine in one go, he would spare the town and move on. Then someone just walked up and did it. So the army left. Much later, during World War II, when the US was performing air raids, someone in the White House knew of this town and pleaded that we do not destroy it. So it has been saved from 2 wars, all because one guy chugged a bunch of wine. Edit. Apparently there was some damage done in WWII, but I don't know if it was bombed. It's also not one of the oldest cities but one of the most preserved. I just posted from memory from my German culture and history class in college. Thanks for the feedback. Paddy Roy Bates, the founding king of Sealand, had his country, a small naval platform, invaded and his son Michael taken hostage by Dutch and German mercenaries. They came in riding jet skis, speedboats, and helicopters while he was in England buying groceries. He hired a helicopter, came down a rope with a shotgun, reconquered Sealand and took the mercenaries hostage. An official German diplomat was sent to negotiate the release of the ringleader. This sounds like a fun Steven Seagal movie. The Japanese Kamikaze, Divine Wind, that saved the country from an amphibious invasion by the Mongolian hordes. The Mongols captured a foothold on some outlying Japanese islands and started to attack the mainland. The Japanese army pushed them back, and they had to retreat to China. When they did, a typhoon ravaged their navy and sank their ships. The Mongolians, probably reasonably, seeing this as a fluke, decided to rebuild and attack again. 7 years later, unfortunately for them, the Japanese fortified their coastline. After basically months of sailing around seeking a place to land, another typhoon struck their fleet and destroyed them. There would be no third invasion. Then they had some fun fighting for a bit before they died in a tornado. Bill Words.
Another one.
Jacob Boone, who was employed to change rail signals.
After initial skepticism, the railway decided to officially employ Jack once his job competency was verified. The baboon was paid 20 cents a day and a half bottle of beer each week. It is widely reported that in his 9 years of employment with the railroad, Jack never made a mistake.
I wonder what that salary negotiation was like. Right? Like, how did they figure to just give him half a bottle of beer rather than a full or a quarter of a bottle? The owner and bartender of a bar once tried to take out an insurance policy on one of their alcoholic customers with one of their friends, in an attempt to make some fast cash. They immediately opened his tab up, hoping he would drink himself to death. That didn't work, so they began spiking his unlimited drinks with antifreeze. That didn't work, so they decided to pump carbon monoxide into his apartment one night. He still wouldn't die. They then beat him savagely and put him in the back of their car to bury him in a rural area. Halfway out there, they heard noises coming from the trunk of the car. He still hadn't died, and when they stopped and got him out, he began walking away under his own power. It took 3 times being hit with a car to finally kill him. That man may be the closest thing we've ever had to a superhero. Edit. Since posting I've been made aware that his name was Michael Malloy. If anyone wants to read further about his story. What's super fucked up is that the cure to antifreeze poisoning is drinking alcohol seriously. Some guy in Australia decided he wanted to hunt rabbits, but rabbits don't live in Australia, so then he released like 12 in his backyard and now there's a fuck ton of rabbits in Australia. When King Edward was young, before he was king, he was a prisoner of Simon de Montfort during a civil war. During his captivity he asked to ride the horses at the castle where he was being held. He proceeded to ride them one by one, tiring them all out. When it came to the last horse he mounted, bade his captors farewell and rode away. All of the other horses were too tired to give effective chase. You have been visited by Subscription Doggo. Like and subscribe to make him happy.